Robin has graduated in the school of art and engineering, and after it he got in touch and actually got inside the sugar network with the sugar project in Paris at this school. So with Alice, the other student we have, also with Fabienne, you met him these days, and he was so into the project. He really passionate about product design, and he wanted to know how the product should work smoothly with the users, with human, with persons. So he got passionate about human-centric design, and eventually his sugar project became a startup. So it got to, let's say, the second step, the next step. We hope every sugar project this year will get as well. So Robin, the stage is yours. Tell us your experience and help us start this journey with the right mood. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mario, for the introduction. Hello, everyone, and thanks for the sugar screen. So yeah, as Mario said, my name is Robin. I've graduated from engineering school only, not arts. It's only the name of the school, Arts et Métiers. And so as Mario said, I wanted to do more than just design products. I wanted to be able to know how to have a positive impact on the users. This is why I joined the D school. And so I'll walk you through a little bit quickly my project when I was in the D school and how it led us to actually create a startup. We're a startup for 2 years now. It's almost our anniversary, actually. So I'll tell you the impact it had on us and how it helps us. This user-centered approach even now. And of course, I'll wait for your questions if you have some afterwards. So first, I'm sure you guys know how lucky you are to be part of this sugar program. I invested a year in the D school especially to learn this user-centered innovation process, and it was the best investment of my life for real. So I advise all of you to really dive into it. This method can be truly, really powerful, but it requires a lot of time and commitment to actually go deep with the needs of the users and to actually dig and find a solution that can actually really impact your users. So whether you're full-time on this or not, just go for it. It might be incredible. So yeah, include of course the users as much as you can, because this is what's gonna get your project real afterwards. The more users you've included into this, the more they'll push you towards actually going towards implementing the solution. So I'll just use slides, pretty much the slide we had when we finished this school year, our presentation. I'll just walk you through it so you know what I'm talking about. And then afterwards, I'll try to give you insights of how we got from being students to actually creating our company on this project and where we are now. So I'll share my screen if I succeed. Do you see the screen? I guess. Yes. Okay. I see.
Yes.
Thumbs up. Should be fine. So this is Guilain, one of the users we spent a lot of time with during this year in the D school a few years back. And the title is quite important. It's not how we innovate for disabled people, but how we innovate with disabled people, which makes all the difference you'll see through this year. So this is our beautiful team. We are 5 co-founders, which is actually quite an anomaly for a startup, but we're proud of it and we think it's our strengths. So Charlotte, she joined us after the project in the D school. She was actually one of the users we met, but I'll tell you more about it later. And Sullivan, Matthew, Noah, and myself, we were the 4 students in the program. With a crew from Stanford University as well. So this was our project, how to better the mobility of disabled people. We were full time on this, and we had funds from the Safran Foundation for the insertion to 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 do to do this project. So first thing we did, we actually lived in a wheelchair for a while. This is myself going in a wheelchair in Paris. I, if you have the chance to do it, even if disability is not related to your project this year, you should do it. It's really fun, and you see the world in a whole different way. So this is definitely the first step of the way, which is, I think, really a key for the following months. If you live the experience of your users, you'll be much. It's gonna be much easier for you to actually exchange deeper insights with them afterwards. So after we did that, we went to meet a lot of disabled people, like Brigitte here, who told us about her journey every day and the challenges she's facing. So here she's got a steep slope plus a bank slope, and she's actually unable to go from her building back there to her parking lot. So she has to ask her neighbor, and when the neighbor is out on weekends, she's just stuck home. So yeah, she explained us this, and we try to explain with these little schemes. It's not just about one problem, not only the steep slope or the bank slope. It's just the fact that she encounters these problems a million times a day and makes her experience challenging. So this was really the key part of our project. We met over 50 manual wheelchair users, and they're actually the ones who pushed us to create our startup afterwards. If we did not involve them as much as we did, I don't know if we would have created this product, but they were the ones to say, okay, this is actually, I want this to happen. You should go and do it. You should commit to it, despite the fact that it takes a lot of time and energy. It's worth it. I'm telling you, if you do it, we'll be the ones backing you up. And you see here, there is Charlotte, who is now a co-founder of the project. Of course, we included medical experts as well. So first, we started prototyping a lot of solutions, really simple one, quick and dirty with wood. We did this for a lot of different problems. It was really, really fun doing it. And we spent a lot of time doing small, quick and dirty prototypes, and actually going back to the users we've met before to make them test our prototypes and iterate very quickly or stop it if there was no going forward anymore. So after a while, we got stuck, which I think will happen to all of you during this year. We got stuck, and we felt like no matter the solution we found, there was always a problem with it. So we kind of took, I would say, a step back and see, okay, what can we do from all these solutions we've tested? And we met again with some people who told us their biggest expectation was to have an electric assistant, but no one had one. So here is one of the reasons why no one has an electric assistant, which is kind of a motorized third wheel, which you can plug on your manual wheelchair. It's the price, and the fact that it's only dedicated to disabled people. So this adds a stigma, because wheelchair is already something only disabled people use, and this assistance as well. And this is what we saw with Caroline and other people. They all told us, we are proud when we succeed to use products that are also shared with disabled people, and this happens very few and on very few occasions. So we refrained from how to better the mobility of disabled people to how to better the mobility of disabled people with a solution that is not specific to the handicap. And that was the key point for us. It took us few months to arrive there, a lot of interviews, a lot of prototypes, but this is what led us to our solution. So we saw that for valid people like myself and like you guys, I guess, we have a lot of mid-mobility solutions. And when you're in wheelchair, above 500 meters is really painful, and you have to take your car even for very small distance. So we thought, okay, why not take one of these solutions that we have as valid people and make it adapt it for disabled people, which is what we did. This is photos of Charlotte using one of our first prototypes. We went, so what we do is this: we just do a connection between a manual wheelchair, any manual wheelchair, and any electric scooter, the same one everyone can use. And we only sell this adaptation, which makes it more affordable for people because this is targeted for a huge market. And it's also the fact that they can use the same device as everyone else, and for them it changes everything. They told us it happens very few that we have a solution we can share with everyone. I will be proud to use this, and this is definitely, this will change the image people have on my handicap. So we did prototypes and we went into the forest with Charlotte and with other people to test it the more we could. And so at the end of this year, yeah, maybe I can show you a small video. I don't know if you all get how this works very quickly. I'm sorry it's in French, but I guess you'll just understand through the images.
We are only seeing your presentation. Are you on YouTube?
Oh yeah, sorry. So
Yeah.
let me check. How to do that? I think I know. Normally I should be able to do it. Okay, I think that's okay. You see the YouTube now, or?
Yes.
So this is just short footage of all the tests we've done along the year with Dylan, with Charlotte, and yeah. Okay, maybe I will go after that because it's all in French, but basically he says what he thinks is good about this product, allowing him to socialize with friends more than he used to. And this we made kids test, which was quite scary, but very fun. So yeah, this is what we do. And what Charlotte emphasized at the end of our presentation, because we asked her to present with us at the end of the year with a disco. So she came on stage with the prototype, and she said that what made us actually commit to our product and help us was the fact that every single week we will go back to her, actually improving the product with her feedbacks. And she felt like, okay, she had actually an impact on what we were doing. So it started to be her project as well. And at the end of the year, she said, if you guys create a startup, I want to be a part of it. So with Charlotte, we created afterwards. And as I said earlier, it's through all the people that tested our product along the year that we decided to create the startup. If we didn't have these people, we would not have known whether this product actually had a real impact or this was just something meant to be in a showroom forever. So we had around 30 to 50 people backing us, and that led us to where we are now. So this is pretty much the part when I was in the school. Maybe I'll stop to share my screen now. So we've left the school 2 years ago, and after we started implementing the product, which takes a lot of time, a lot more time than we expected, to be truly honest. But it's we are good. We how do you say, we delivered our first users last summer, and we will as a only beta testers so far, and our first we will commercialize our first real launching earlier next year. So I'll just add a few more things, and afterwards, if you have questions, I'll be happy to answer these. To be honest, going from being students to actually implementing the product was tough. especially about how do we keep using the user-centered approach into implementing the product. Because we went from a phase where we were always listening to users to a phase where if we kept listening to users, because they of course have different point of views, we were always changing our minds and never actually moving forward with the product. So this was a bit challenging for us to understand, okay, among the needs we get from our users, the feedbacks they give us, some are deep and shared and we should follow them all the way, and some are subjective and we have to make the decisions on the product, some decisions on the products ourselves, because if we keep changing our minds, the product is never gonna be released. So this is something we learned after a while. Now we keep using user-centered approach, but much less now, because we're really into the implementation rather than innovating. And we have we will launch other products and go back to doing this user-centered approach probably in a year. We'll start probably next year. Once our product has been launched, part of the team will start creating new products. So I guess this is it. Now I'll be happy to answer your questions, whether it is on the, I mean, when I was back in the school, or how did it lead us to this startup, or how is it going now? Anything, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you very much, Robin, for the story you told us. There is any question? I'm checking the chat, but you can of course just say something on the call. Is there any question?
We have Pedro has a question, and I have a question as well. Robin, congrats. I remember quite well seeing your project and thinking to myself, this is quite brilliant. They just used the connection. They forgot about everything else. Therefore, I have two questions for you. What was the most extreme testing that you had, like either extreme user or extreme testing that you had? And when was the moment, the click, when you said, fuck it, we will not build a new mechanical or electric thing. We will just leverage the current products that we have and just focus on this adaptation.
Okay, so for the first questions, first question was the most extreme testing. You mean when we were like prototyping quick and dirty, or afterwards? Yeah, okay. I think one of the most extremes, one of the most scary for me at least, it was not related to the product we were doing right now, but someone really wanted to show us that he could go down stairs with his wheelchair, and it was all wet outside, and we were testing a product against bank slope issue. So he really wanted to show us that, so he went down these stairs, and I was so scared because I didn't know whether I could do it or not. And for the product itself, I think one of the most scary times were when we started having one of the first prototypes. It was under the snow, so we had quite a few falls when we started it. And at first, the product, you could, tilt from one side to the other. And we thought it was super cool because when you were turning, you could tilt in the turn. But we got really strong feedbacks about the fact that, okay, this might be cool for us if we have abs, but this is not cool when you don't have abs and you're in a wheelchair. So we thought, okay, this is not good, and we need to change that. So we had a few bumps along the way. And for the click, it really was, as I said at some point, I felt every time we were finding a solution, there was a problem with it. Just as an example, we had a little system on the wheelchair to block so that the little front wheels cannot rotate anymore. So in bank slopes, you keep going forward and you don't go down the slope. very simple. They say it's really cool, but a lot of them said, okay, it's cool, but it adds up weight to my wheelchair. And when I put it in my car, I struggle already too much. I will not use it. So we felt like, okay, we didn't find a deep, deep enough need to answer. So there was always something invalidating it, because okay, this is cool, but actually there is a downside which is worse than what it brings to me. So we took it took a lot of time at some point, and we had some counseling from a teacher in user-centered design from Eindhoven, which helped us a lot, saying, okay, you've got a lot of raw data, you've digged for a lot of months. Now take a step back and see, okay, is there anything connecting everyone, just not special need, but is there something they all emphasized? And there was something which was, okay, a lot of them were talking about these electric assistances. There is this motorized third wheel, and we thought, okay, this is already good enough, we won't do one more. They're good into what they do. But after 3 or 4 months, none of the people who said, I'm going to have one in a few weeks, this is one of my main goals, none of our users among the 50 had any electric assistance. So we went back to season and asked, okay, why is that you said you would have one in 2 weeks and you still don't have one? And they said it's the price and the stigma for some people. And we said, okay, maybe there is something to do with it. We've got something good with the scooter. And it's really about the testing. I mean, we tested like we did for the other products, other prototypes. The only thing is when we tested, there was something different. We felt, okay, this is actually impactful, because sometimes you made them test and they were like, okay, it's cool. And this time it was like, okay, it's cool, but I want you to come back next week with this different. And I got, okay, they actually want us to keep going on this. And the more they asked us to come back, the more they were involved, the more we were sure we were about to do something impactful. I'd say you kind of feel it. It's hard to explain, but the enthusiasm during these tests were really different than what we were used to.
Cool. Thanks.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Thomas. We have a couple of questions in the chat. If I'm not wrong, also Pedro from USP Nestle had a question. Am I correct?
I think so.
Yeah,
my question is like, how was the journey from the final prototype to the first client, you know?
To the first client?
So we are a startup now, but what is our first client? Who is our first client? Is a company or a specific people, you know?
Okay. So the journey was long and it's not over yet. But for our product, as the people who followed us during our student year, they wanted to purchase the product. They say to us, okay, if you go for it, if you have a product that that can last and that is safe for me, I will definitely purchase it. So we thought, okay, B2C is our best option. Of course, afterwards, we tried to see whether we could do some B2B through companies, but we did a little bit of user testing as well, and we realized we could have sales through medical distributors, for example, but a lot of people were saying, I don't want to buy your product between a medical bed and a wheelchair. I want to buy it where everyone buys it. It can be Decathlon, it can be elsewhere, but I want to quit the medical world. So we thought, okay, this is we have to sell it either straight or through, I'd say, shops that are normally meant for valid people. And we tried both, either with companies or with people. But for such investment, for our product at least, we realized very quickly that people needed to test it because they all have different wheelchair and they all have different handicap. So it was hard for us even to convince company was fine, but then they would have hard time knowing whether it's actually adapted for their disabled people. Okay, is it okay with their handicap? Is it okay with their wheelchair? So for our product, it was obvious very quickly. They say, no, this is something personal. This is my handicap. This is my wheelchair. My wheelchair is my leg. So I want to test your product myself. If I think it's worth it, I'll purchase it myself. So B2B is an option for later, but definitely for us was quite obvious.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, then Robin, we have a couple of more questions I read in the chat, and then I think we are over. So I'll ask the two questions, then you can answer one by one. One is, what was the longest time or period that you got stuck? Like you didn't know what to do and you just like were freezing? And if there was any support from the university in the launch of the startup?
Okay, so the first one, I don't recall much, but I think, yeah, we got stuck for a while, at least 1 month for sure. 1 month, even more, where we felt we were not stuck, but we went back to the same point. So between maybe something like February to April or January to March, we struggled a lot because we had a lot of data, we had a lot of people helping us, but we didn't know how to choose which product to follow. So with help from the university, we said, okay, maybe it's just we haven't come up with the right product yet, and maybe we need to go deeper again. And we started doing again interviews with the same people, and so after a month or two, we found this this solution, and there was actually, it was quite promising, so we went for it. But in any case, some projects are never stuck. Most are stuck for a while at some point. But what's important, I think, is to make it real. So you have a year, whether you want to create a startup after or you want to do some other stuff, and you need to, at some point, this is where we got stuck. You need to decide, okay, I still have 4 months to go. This needs to go somewhere. So you've got to choose a path. You've got to take a risk at some point and to say, okay, this is the most promising solution we have. We go for it. And how do we make sure this is actually going to have an impact on someone? Is this open source and we give it to some people? Do we find someone that's going to continue the project? Are we the ones to continue the project? But you have to take risk at some point. I think that's also one of the things why we got stuck, thinking, okay, now we need to go forward. And when you implement a product, there is always a risk. You don't know how the market will react. But the more users you've involved along the way, the more confident you will be into what you're doing. And the other questions?
Yeah, it was about the university support eventually in the startup launch.
First, there was support from the Saffron Foundation. They gave us some money at the beginning. They said when they saw we were doing something promising, they say, if you create your startup, we'll help you financially. So they paid for our patents afterwards. And from the university, we had contact with our coach still. So at first, our coach was still following us, and we were having some meetings along the way with him when we were stuck into a decision. And also either other alumni like this, giving us their honest feedbacks on whether we were going in the right direction or not. Yeah, I'd say.
Okay, so Robin, thank you very much from all of us. Let's have a like chat storm of applause for Robin. Thank you very much. I'll do like symbolic like noisy applause. Thank you very much for your time, for your story. We really hope many sugar programs will get that way, and I really like many things for the students. You will see those again in your journey, like the presentation, also let's say outfit. That was really, I mean, I'm not like going to highlight everything, but it was really design thinking, really with a lot of persons, so you're gonna find them back, and really follow the suggestion of Robin. Test yourself, your stuff, even if looks weird. Maybe you said, okay, I should like go on the wheelchair. You could probably feel, okay, it's weird to do this kind of test, but it's really the only way to get that empathy, to put yourself in the shoes of your user. If he's like a wheelchair, or if he's like eating crackers, you need to do those stuff yourself. That's really an important suggestion. Robin, thank you very much again. We hope to see you soon again, and have luck with your startup.
Thank you, and everyone have fun with the sugar program, and I'm sure you'll love it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Robin.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.